To our top story and a disturbing new report from UN children's agency UNICEF. It says Boko Haram is using more child suicide bombers than ever before. The Nigerian militant group has used at least 83 children as bombers since the beginning of January this year. That number is 4 times higher than in 2016. 55 of the children were girls, most of them under the age of 15. One was a baby strapped to a girl. The Boko Haram insurgency is in its 8th year. The militants have killed more than 20,000 people and displaced millions. UNICEF says it's extremely concerned over the increase in the use of child suicide bombers, calling it appalling.
What's particularly disturbing is a rising trend that has been escalating, unfortunately, of even the use of children in so-called suicide attacks, which is further undermining the perception that children are innocent because they are being manipulated and instrumentalized in absolutely abhorrent ways.
Let's get you more now on that story. I'm joined live from Abuja by our correspondent Sophia Dengo. Sophia, Boko Haram is using more child suicide bombers than ever before. Do you have more details for us?
Well, Panina, what we do know, having spoken to the deputy representative there that you saw in that clip of UNICEF, is that indeed they are escalating cases. Back in 2014, there was about 4 cases that were documented of the involvement of children below the ages of 18 in suicide attacks. That number, of course, has increased to up to 80, and some of those children as young as 5 years old. What UNICEF is putting forward, along, in tandem with the Nigerian government, is to really raise the alarm on the activities of Boko Haram and the tactics that they are choosing to use, especially now that there's a larger affront both on ground troops and air with the military, and that this new tactic is not only involving children but also quite detrimental to safeguarding the displaced, almost 1.3 million children in the Northeast. Panina.
Sophia, how concerned are Nigerian authorities about this report from UNICEF?
Well, the concern is rather heavy on the part of the Nigerian security authorities, really because of this ability to recruit among such a large number of unattended minors, both in internally displaced camps and also in these host communities. The temptation to be lured into this Boko Haram ideology is very real, and that poses a direct threat in the military approaching this extremist group that seems to be expanding in the Lake Chad Basin region. Panina.
It's a disturbing trend. How have Nigerians reacted to the report of child suicide bombers?
Well, 8 years ago, the impression that Boko Haram had given was that it was a ragtag group of disgruntled, youth. That, of course, has now grown into one of the deadliest terror groups that not only is on the continent, but might even be explained around the world. And so Nigerians have often said that the government must do more in cracking down on Boko Haram itself, and not only looking at these cases of children being used as Boko Haram, but just the vulnerability of these civilian groups in the Northeast really needs to be safeguarded, and really just looking to the Buhari administration to turn around what originally was escalating during the previous administration. Panina.
All right, Sophia Dengo, live for us in Abuja. Many thanks for joining us.